Don't send. Still here? Wow.
I didn't ascend yet.
Don't descend either.
No, we're just gonna stay balanced. Okay. We're in balance. chat.
Really? Good evening, my friends. Here we are in beautiful 2021 and already outrageous. We thought that 2020 was big, but here we are in 2021 and 13 days into it now, and absolutely amazing things happening. Of course, destructuring so that the new can arise forth, and we being the hairbringers of this new paradigm, we are here to be able to focus upon what it is that we would seek to create and what we would bring forth as the gift rather than focusing upon the old. And so that brings me to the topic of tonight's discussion. I sent out a link to a lot of different people, excuse me, a video by Veda, V-E-D-A, Veda Austin on water. And if you did not get the link and would like it, simply email me and I will send that to you because it's very exciting. Of course, all of our work revolves around the star tetrahedron, and I'm going to explain tonight how the star tetrahedron and her work with water, how they really synchronize. Because the star tetrahedron, of course, it's the divine marriage between power, masculine, and divine, feminine, heart, love. And as it is united, it creates an energetic waveform around us that is a crystalline structure of consciousness and light. But more importantly, as the star tetrahedron is formulated in the very center of it, which is in the area of the heart chakra, literally inside of you, a great doorway opens into the void, and the eternal waters of the void now rest there in silence, waiting to be brought forth into creation. And of course, this is what then the Christ field does. It brings forth creation. So this dear woman, Veda Austin with water, she took Emoto's work where he was taking water and he would put words on the water. And then as he completely froze it, he would look at the crystalline structure of it. What Veda did, she took the water and she put it in a petri dish, a round dish, and then she would place either images or words or music, and she would then place it there for 30 seconds and allow the water to then be encoded with the vibration. And then she would freeze it for only about 10 minutes so that it wasn't completely solid, just that the crystalline structure was beginning to form. Whereas Emoto took it to a finalized crystalline structure, she was then looking for more of a soft imaging, if you will. So one of the first things that she did is she then worked with words. So if you can see in this one, she then took the word Om below, And as she then placed it on the water for 30 seconds and then took it out and then photographed it, I think you can see quite clearly there is the image of the OM, the Om above it. And one of the most interesting things about it that's very important to our work, she wasn't wanting it to look a certain way or trying or demanding to make it look a certain way. She was simply gifting the water with an image or word and allowing the water to reveal what its feeling was about that, which is again feminine feeling. So this is the Om. This one I thought was very fascinating because she then took hieroglyphs, and down here, of course, in this corner is the hieroglyph. And just to do it several times, she wanted to see what would happen to make sure that she was actually getting something and it wasn't just happenstance. And if you are able to look close at these images, you can see on every image, there's actually writing and there's actually hieroglyphic symbols on these images in the water. Again, not an exact reproduction, but again, a very strong feeling, a revelation of what it is that she was gifting the water with. Now you can go to her website, vedaaustin.com, or like I said, you can email me for the video link, and it gives all of her information as well as her book on water. This one, of course, very exciting. A friend of hers sent her a wedding announcement. And so she took the wedding announcement and placed it on the water for 30 seconds. And then, of course, froze it for the 10 minutes and then photographed it. And so this is the interpretation of the divine water of wedding. And how magnificent. A perfect circle, of course, and what appears to be a perfectly clear pearl, a diamond-like pearl at the top. And if this is not the embodiment of a wedding and the grace of water showing us how divine and sacred the union of life is, quite amazing, quite amazing. Astounding. And again, she wasn't needing it or wanting it to look some way. She was simply gifting, simply placing for 30 seconds that image upon the water. Her son's name is Rama, and Rama means arrow. And so they decided that the son said he would then write the word arrow, which is again the image of Rama out of the Vedic tradition, Rama. And of course, very distinctly, an arrow rising forth. And then she took music. And then this particular music was Stairway to the Heavens, Stairway to the Heavens. And she did it several times because she wanted to see what was the feeling. And in every one of these, I think you can see that there's a stairway. There's a sense of something quite beautiful, heavenly, almost above. And again, so the water's interpretation of a song, Stairway to Heaven. Now, why is this so important to us? First of all, on a very physical plane, we are water. The body is 85% water. And so how do you feel about your water? What are the feelings that you're carrying around throughout the day? Are you in love with your water? Are you feeling that it's perfect and whole? You can't look at the water of the body, and if there's a pain, and focus upon the pain, because then in that 30 seconds of focusing upon it, you're gifting it that image, and it will reflect that back to you. And so to truly fall in love more and more with the body, with the water of the body, to feel exactly how would you feel your life? How would you feel the being that you are? And we've talked about this over and over in our work, that however you feel about yourself and however you feel about life, and then focus the light of the mind, which is power and attention. Again, that's the 30 seconds of focus. Focusing the light of the mind, attention for 30 seconds upon the feeling of profound love for the water, the body, of the water of the body, then that will then begin to reflect this feeling of love and grace within the cells and tissues. And of course, we've all known this from Emoto's work, but this makes it so visceral that it's actually the water very quickly imaging back to us these feelings, these awarenesses. Anything in particular?
Um, no, it's just that Ed said he had an issue for a moment, but he figured it out.
Oh, good.
So it's all good.
Well, being the great technician, I'm glad he figured it out. So, of course, for in my house here, and for many of us who have been at many of the retreats, whenever we do a treat, I always take the water and I bless it, and I infuse it with this Christ feeling, love, prosperity, health, and joy, and that's the water that we drink at the retreats. Well, I do that at my home here. I have a water filter, and I very finely filter the water that comes from the tap so that it's pure, and then I put it in a 2-gallon glass jar, and then I then infuse the water with the light of the Christ, with joy, with happiness, with health, with peace, and then that's the water that I drink. And so as I'm drinking that water, I'm again taking the water of my body and I'm telling it, this is a Christed field, this is a love field, this is a gifting of health and joy field. And when the body is vibrating that way, then things like COVID can't come to it. Whatever is the energy field that is within and around you that you are vibrating and emitting, that's what's being attracted to you. We've talked over and over that you can't get COVID, you can't get a disease unless there is something within you that is calling it to you. If there's fear and worry about it, that fear and worry is already, you see, in the water of your body. And it's not to dislike that and not to go, oh, once again, fear, but simply quickly change, pivot your consciousness to focus once again on loving the body, on adoring it. Again, she took the water and just by 30 seconds of focus, it immediately gifted back the feeling image that was within it. So how very exciting. Now, to take it a little bit further, you see, when we do the star tetrahedron work and we're bringing the light of the mind, which is attention, and we're bringing the mind back into focus, the silent focus of the mind, that's true power. Just as we know the light projector at the movie, that is the focusing of light, attention, and power. And at the movie, when the light is focused upon the film, it simply plays upon the screen the image. Well, this is what she showed us in her water. But for us, as we do the star tetrahedron work, we're bringing the light of the mind power into focus. We are then coming to this place of profound love. And as this energetic waveform is created around us, it then opens a doorway within the very center of the chest back into the eternal waters of the void. The eternal waters of the void. And now, as we are resting within our meditation and we are then at one with the eternal waters of the void, for 30 seconds, we can then simply gift the feeling image we would like. We drop it into the void. As it touches then the waters of the void and we are quietly focused upon it, then as the image then arises forth, the image that then the void is, if you will, gifting back to us. We're not demanding that it look a certain way. We're not needing it to look a certain way. We're simply gifting the water with this feeling image, the void, and allowing it then to reflect back the way that is most appropriate, because the void is a place of supreme intelligence, supreme oneness. It is God's source. And as you're simply gifting these images to it, you allow it then to summon back to you the perfect way it would show up in your life. And so as we're doing that, you see this is the manifestation of the Christ, because it is then the star tetrahedron that is moving around us, that is this multifaceted crystal you see is moving with consciousness and light around it as the image arises forth from out of the void that we have gifted the image to it. It touches the facets of this magnificent star that's spinning, and it literally holographically creates it to be so in life. This is the way that the Christ field manifests. And so when the individual Jesus who mastered the Christ field, he saw someone who was in their waters, they were holding illness or dis-ease upon their waters. He simply went into the void. He saw them in perfection, saw them completely whole and at one. As he then simply focused the mind upon the feeling of wholeness and oneness, the light emanate coming from him simply overtook their ignorant thoughts and simply made them whole and complete. And this is so, you see, because right now we are all simply being bathed in the oneness of the void. It's everywhere present. And it's our thoughts and our feelings and our ideas and the information that we've been given since growing up that takes all of that which we are seeing and feeling, and it's simply the void that is just like the water is creating images. They look real, they taste, they feel, they touch. We experience them as reality, but in fact, they're just images that are reflecting off the oneness of Source God, and we hold them fixed as ideas and beliefs, which then makes them so. And then we have worry or fear about that. We then have hatred or anger about that. And that is an energy field that then fixes it even more profoundly into manifestation. We now become the creators of our reality in this new age before us. The Aquarian age is the pouring out of the living waters from the Aquarius field. And as those living waters, which is Source, are rising forth, we now take responsibility. I gift love, I gift peace, I give the Christ field that I am. Already I am that. It's only your limited thoughts and ideas that hold your water in something that is an illusion that separates you from being God's source and increase it to be something that you think you are. Again, thinking. That's why we focus the mind. We come back to the heart of feeling. We drop into the void. We see ourselves in magnificent God, goddess-like perfection within the void. We hold that image. It will then arise forth within our lives. If we are doing that with profound clarity, it will happen very quickly. But if we then through our daily lives move to a place of fear or worry or concern or grief or sadness, once again our waters go back to the old way of being. And so we're simply training ourselves to be masters. Masters who can hold the mind steady, focus upon the feeling of love, and drop those images into the void. So this is the magnificence of the work before us. And this water so beautifully shows us that. Excuse me, a note from Millie that says she takes her Kangen water, which is alkaline water, and then puts it in a blue vessel and sets it in the sunlight. So I would encourage all of you to begin to work with the water, both the water that you're feeling and experiencing as the body and all the water within it, as well as water that you're drinking. If you are simply drinking it by a cup, hold the cup for a few moments. Feel it as sacred, as at one with Source, and you will then simply change it into that which is then really edifying the physical body. The last, I suppose, week, 10 days since I saw this video, I've been very, very focused on my meditation as I go into it of really feeling the water of the body, that it is now still and silent and perfectly aligned and balanced. So as I then begin to bring the light within and it emanates through me and from me, there's no resistance, that it's a field of love that I'm now emitting light from me. And I have watched my meditation significantly change. For those of us, you see, who are fortunate enough to be by water, of course, Dorothy, Dew, and I live to spend a lot of time, as well as Jennifer and I and my family in Hawaii. And so when you see in those waters that are the waters of the planet that are so beautiful, you feel so renewed and full of life and full of goodness. So again, we can create that every day within our lives. So one of the things that's we also do in our work, which is we do the breath work. And so the breath work is a very deep, called the So-Hum breath. The So is the in breath, is the sound of Ujjayi breathing. When you gently constrict the throat, there's this deep, almost the sound of So. Well, in our work, you see, we're breathing, yes, oxygen, but more importantly, we are feeling the opening here in the doorway, where the star tetrahedron is moving and spinning around us. We're already becoming familiar that we are now imagining and feeling this doorway. And so the waters of the body will then reflect that to us. And then as this doorway opens from within, the So is then the summoning of these living waters from inside out. So we're giving ourselves a way to become familiar with summoning the flow of the waters from the void inside out. So that is the So. The living waters flowing from me. We hold the breath for a couple of counts, and as we exhale, a gentle hum, letting go. We're allowing those waters in to flow out in a sacred gift to all of life. Holding for a couple of counts, and once again, the very deep from the interior of the void, summoning. Deep belly breathing, filling the lungs, filling the body, knowing I am summoning the void spirit life from me, and then the hum, the letting go. So we're going to do about 5 minutes of So-Hum breath. I usually do the So-Hum breath with eyes open so that I can then be more aware of doing it when I'm moving throughout the day, driving, gardening, walking, always summoning the living waters from within. So let's go ahead and do the So-Hum breath. In all of our work, we like the spine to be quite straight. So we feel that there is a string at the top of the head that gently pulls us up, elongating the spine, and the very deep summoning of the So-Hum breath. And one more deep breath, summoning the living waters of Source. So the work that is the star tetrahedron, creating the Christ field, the crystalline structure of power and love that we weave around us. Upper triangulation, divine power, is the focusing of divine mind. And so we bring our attention between the forehead, and then within the very center of the head, we ignite the light of the soul, divine and sacred being I am. And as we ignite the light, we gently hold attention here, and then we drop it down to the heart chakra at the sternum, where we then illuminate, again, imagination, the star tetrahedron. It can be of any size. Apex above, divine power. Apex below, divine love. And as the star tetrahedron you see is then turning, upper triangulation left to right clockwise, lower triangulation right to left counterclockwise, is this counter rotation that then opens the sacred doorway within the very center of the chest, the heart chakra, called the jewel in the lotus, from out of which Source arises forth, the pure living waters of Source, ready to be gifted with the feelings and the images that you would drop upon it. And as the reflection then is created, it touches the facets of the spinning star, and the crystalline structure of the Christ field then emanates it out, become manifest. And so we're learning to create our reality. If we focus upon the problems, the issues, the things that we see in the world and hold them in our attention, it crystallizes those into form. And then we believe it's real. And then we want to fight against it or dislike it or try and change it or make it different. And in fact, it's simply something that we are creating because we are, again, focusing attention upon it. We, in 2021, the new age that is now before us, we simply create from inside out. Creator being I am, power and love living within me, focus clearly. And as I then allow spirit to arise forth from within, not out there, but from within, I create now from inside out my reality. So I'm going to take us through the full formulation of the star tetrahedron meditation, and they will meditate for about 35, maybe 40 minutes. Again, spine nice and erect. And as we close the eyes, we simply feel the body relaxing. Already feeling ourselves loving all of the water within the body. Cells, tissues, organs, brain, stomach, blood, falling in love. I am the living water. I emanate love and peace. God, Goddess, I am. Bringing attention between the eyebrows, we draw a line straight back. And within the approximate center point of the head, we ignite the light of the soul. The waters of the brain become light. I see light. I focus attention to the heart chakra at the sternum and I illuminate the star tetrahedron. It is in front, it is in back, it is all around. I live within the Christ field I am. Upper triangulation, divine power is turning left to right clockwise. Lower triangulation, divine love is turning right to left counterclockwise. As the triangulation turns, it opens a sacred doorway within the very center of the chest, the heart chakra. The sacred doorway opening into the eternal waters of the void, source, arising forth as a living spring, to become golden sunlight and peace, like the physical sun. I am the light, my gift to creation. Let us sit quietly together, and I will gather all of us into the sacred field of the living waters. I am the light. And very easily now, slowly coming back. And so it's going to be very important as we go forth now into 2021. We went through the open doorway on December 21st of 2020, and now into the open doorway into the new age. And if we are focused upon creating the wedding of the divine masculine, the divine feminine within, we would then live in oneness and wholeness. And rapidly unfolding paradigm now of new possibilities. And as it rapidly unfolds and the old destructuring falls away, lots of changes are going to be taking place. And once again, if you are focusing attention upon the waters of creation and disliking or judging, criticizing, anger, frustration, dislike is going to harden it, and it's going to then create that feeling within your body, within your waters. And so it's a great choice now as creators. What will I feel upon my waters? What will I decide to see life as? And again, this is in bringing forth the focus of attention, divine mind, holding the mind steady, not judging, criticizing, dancing here and there, scattered. But again, that's meditation, to focus the light of the mind, to be very clear, precise, and then hold images and feelings upon the living water of spirit and create your reality. And when we are focused upon things that are out of balance, then we're going to experience the possibility of disease within the physical form, disease and lack of prosperity around us. And then we're going to want to blame the world and say that's happening to me. But in fact, it's really that we are simply holding those image feelings within that are then being reflected as the living images out there. So very exciting in possibilities. I'd like to encourage you, of course, in your meditation practice. It's going to be very important now that we become more silent, focused, more in tune with the life forces that are now wanting to prevail upon the planet. And in this prevailing of new light and love, if we are lost in the old, we'll simply be again in dis-ease and disharmony. Any thoughts from the divine folks out there?
No, nobody's texting.
Well, shout out to all of you dear ones, Charles in Chicago. Of course, I think Laura and Bob are down in Sedona, and nice to have Rosemary Christensen with us. Katie, welcome back. All of you divine folks will be here 2 weeks from tonight. And if I can assist you in any way, if you would like to, again, have the video, the link to the video, just let me know. I'm here to serve you, and I want to thank you very much for joining me tonight. Great blessings, my friends, and we will see you soon.